Hello everybody! Today we are going to be learning how to do soft rendering and some other methods in making water. First, make your basic form. You can fill it in using the brush or you can use the bucket tool. You can add little particles, or if you are making a river, add little rocks. Make sure to add those small little details to make it more lifelike. Make sure you use the alpha lock, or in the future the clipping tool, which we will cover later. The alpha lock helps make sure that your brush strokes stay in the form of your brush strokes, like your raindrop. You can try some soft shading using the airbrush tool. It's what I use most of the time. It's more of my style. You can kind of guess where the shades are. You kind of treat it a bit like a bubble, but for sure, if you don't know where your light is coming from, or keep forgetting, try drawing little arrows pointing where the light is coming from. You're doing great. Pause the video if you need to, if you're doing the process as you watch the video. A little shading on the top, most shading at the bottom of where your light source is coming from. Shading helps you figure out your form, like if it's a silhouette. Now, for the light sources. Keep using your airbrush and now use the light. Don't worry about if it gets outside the lines, it'll come up later what to do. Select the clipping tool. It will make sure that whatever you draw stays in the form of the layer underneath it. So you can add multiple layers while still making sure it doesn't get outside your lines. It's okay if you need to change your airbrush size frequently. That's quite normal. Just make sure to remember what size it normally was if it's important to you that it stays a certain thickness. But if you're not doing line art, then you should be fine. Once again, treat it sort of like a bubble. Add several patches of light, maybe a little bit on the bottom. Pause the video here if you are following along, or watch the examples. Now it's time to add your final touches. Add final details or whatever you want to your piece. You can add drop shadows, which we'll cover later in the second method, or, mess with the blending modes, and make sure to save your work. Here's what this method brings you. On to method 2. Sharp details. In this one, we're going to be doing more details like ocean foam, and smaller brush sizes will be helpful. This is also where having a bigger canvas comes in handy, because you can get in there with all the little details and it'll look bad zoomed in, but when you zoom out, it'll probably look really good. This is my first time trying doing sea foam patterns, but you'll see what I mean later on. Right now, try to get your base shadow. Make sure to use a sharp-edged brush versus a soft airbrush like before. You're going to be using hard edges for this one. Make sure to add some texture, like using the blur or smudge tool to get the shadow shapes just right. And any other details you want to add, like maybe little bubbles inside. I didn't do that here, but you can for yours. It will probably look more realistic if you try to do that. And make sure to use that clipping layer. Always experiment with the blending modes because you could find something that looks really nice. It's always good to experiment with art apps and to see what they are capable of. Make sure to shade in all your little droplets and details. If you're following along, continue playing the video, or you can pause it when we reach the end of when I'm shading all these droplets. If you aren't going along, you can skip ahead or just watch. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Man, I use the undo button a lot, but it's definitely your best friend. Almost done. Now, choose a color for your lighting. You can use previous colors if you got those before, or you can just make up a new color. Make sure to look at all your options for the brush tool. With IBIS Paint, you have to watch ads for some of them, but then you get it like free for like 4 to 8 hours, I think. Make sure to mess with the thickness and the brush size. Step 3 is blending. Make sure to blend in your sharp shadings really well. You can blend it in, or you can use the blur tool, or you can use the watercolor brush. You can experiment with it and find your style. Like right now, I'm just gonna be blending in these shadows on the little droplets. And yeah. You can also skip to the end if you want, or go to the end. Make sure with the watercolor brush tool that you experiment with how much the brush leaks between the colors. Continue blending until you're satisfied with your result. Make sure when you shade and add lighting to water, you treat it like a bubble. Bubbles are really fun to experiment with, so feel free to also try doing bubbles. Yeah. Bubbles are fun and they're very similar to water droplets in their lighting and shading, so make sure to experiment a little bit. Finish up blending because we're about to move on to the lighting step. Now, add a new layer and make sure it's clipped to the bottom layer so that it doesn't go past the shape of the first layer it is clipping to. Use that same hard brush, make sure it's the size you want, and you can choose and experiment with the brushes. I like using the dip brush, and this will be our 4th step, the highlights. Make sure you generally make the form. You can treat it like a bubble and just have one big like swoosh and then a dot. But for this one, I'm gonna be adding more oceany textures. Feel free to add tons of circular blobs. It makes it look like the light's deflecting? I think both those words work. In the water. And yeah, treat it like a bubble. Make sure it's nice and circular, the size you want. And now repeat that with all your little droplet details and follow along or skip past as I show examples of how I do it. Step 5 is texture detailing. Very important to helping you resemble the type of object you're wanting to make. You can look up several reference sheets for like textured balls to give the right kind of lighting and rendering you want. My sister has recommended this to me before when trying to make some of her new characters, which I talked about last video. Step 6 is ocean foam, another part of detailing. This is a method I haven't really practiced too much, but I've seen another YouTuber, Viora, try it, so I figured I would and try to demonstrate it. The whole part of being an artist is experimenting, so do what feels right. If it doesn't work, look up tutorials or try again. Use a lighter color. Pretty much what I did, I just kind of did random squiggles that looked like seafoam, and then I ended up blurring it and then adding even thinner details to try and make it look more foamy. I'm sure if I added lots of little bubbles, like little circles, it would look like it was bubbling foam too, but unfortunately I didn't think of that at the time. And once again, make sure you adjust the size and the color as needed. You can always check your color history if you switched colors and you're like, oh no, I lost my color. No, you didn't. You can just go check. Adjust the color mix and adjust and experiment with all the brush stuff so that you understand how it works. In the next following seconds of the video is examples of how I experimented with applying the foam. You can pause here if you're following along, or you can continue watching till this segment is over. If you haven't checked out my previous 2 videos, please do. One of them is about me working on making cartoon character assets for my sister for a new object animation fan show she's making. And I also did a fun little dragon music edit. Continue layering and texturing and blurring as needed. If you have a bigger canvas size and a smaller brush, you can add a lot more details that'll look better zoomed out. So make sure to continue zooming in and out to get good perspectives on how your picture's looking. You can also rotate the canvas if you're struggling to make a certain curve. It's quite easy to snap the canvas back into center and into place in Ibis Paint versus other programs, so you'll be fine if you try. Also, if you haven't yet, please like the video and possibly share it with someone so that they can also learn the knowledge you've just learned in this video. Now we'll be doing the sharp highlights. After all that layering, we're finally going to wrap up. So get a brighter color, do a bit of a bubble effect again, and experiment with how you want it to look. Now we'll be adding the final touches. You can pause here or continue to do the drop shadow. In the drop shadow, you can just use the effect features to make it turn black or whatever color you like. Usually you would use high contrast. And make sure to let me know what videos you'd like to see next. You can also adjust it using the transform tool and use the airbrush tool with different transparencies to make it look like the light's coming through the water droplet. Now you can just save as a JPEG or a PNG. PNGs have transparent backgrounds. And here are the end results. What do you think? How did yours turn out? Here are the 2 pictures compared next to each other. Have a great day!